May I have roll call, please?
Trustee Sterling Pope,
Present.
trustee Hare. Present. Trustee Knox. Present. Trustee Morris. Present. Trustee Hare, present.
Thank you. The pledge of allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do have just one thing that I wanted to say before we get into the nitty gritty. I always like to comment on people that go above and beyond the things that they do. And Bethany and Jamie stepped in when we were really in a bad situation with our finance department. And Paige and Shamra did an extraordinarily outstanding job on updating our mission, vision, and values. So these are not anything big, but they're just little pens that say great job. So I'd like for you each to have one. Okay, everyone has received the minutes. Are there any corrections, additions? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Receipt and reading of any communications?
None.
Report of officers and trustees? Okay. Report of standing committees? Report of general manager. I bet we're lucky on this one.
Oh, well, my report as far as the general manager concern goes, I'll let each of the individuals address those areas they've got. Basically, last month, I've been gone for a little over 2 weeks due to medical issues, and been up in Moline at a conference for a few days. So it wasn't a lot that I had for August since I wasn't here. We did hold a director's workshop, had a company come in and give us pretty much an all-day director's meeting on how to proceed, how to manage things and carry us along. And it was very, very informative. I think the money we did, I don't have the exact dollar that we spent on that, but it's well worth it because each of us took something away from that meeting that we didn't know. And that's the kind of meetings you want to have. You want to take something away. But if you know everything, you don't need to be in there. And none of us know everything, believe me. And I had several meetings on the draft of the new ATU contract, which meetings with Bill and with Paige, who's been doing a lot of the drafting work as far as what we want in there and what we want from them and what we're going to give them. And those are not finalized yet. We're meeting again tomorrow to go over the rough draft of that, and the meetings will start with the union next week. They haven't given us anything yet as to what they want. I have informants that tell me certain things they do want, but that's, I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. I want to send in a hard copy. Also, we hired a new office coordinator, Carmen, who you see at the front there, who is really a go-getter. She reports to Stephanie, but she does any other jobs that we need around the office, and we've needed someone at the window for a long time. And she's very, very productive. We're well pleased. And finally, last month, basically, I wrote quite a few more bus routes and am working on the service change, which I will be doing full time after we have the union to sign off on our contract, because I need to focus basically on that till we get that put to sleep. And that's pretty much me. Each of the other individuals who have an item, starting off with marketing would be Shamra. You've got her notes there in your thing. And that's pretty much all I have.
Okay, thank you so much. Project updates, Jamie.
Evening. I'll be helping with the project updates. Luckily, we've been getting our projects rolling this last month. We've made a lot of progress thanks to Steve and Brad. They really helped us out. Vehicle replacements with our current support vehicles. We have recently submitted a pre-award concurrence to IDOT for the purchase of 4 minivans, which means that we've gotten everything that we need from the vendor, and we're just gonna send it to IDOT for their approval. Once they approve it, we will then present it to the board for approval, and then we'll be able to reach out to the vendor. The lead time on those vehicles is 3 months. So if we get approval and it's presented next month, we should get 4 vans by Christmas or right after Christmas. Our medium duty vans, those are the ADA vans. We use those for County Link, City Lift, and supervisors have a few. 3 of the County Link vans, all County Link vans are supported by CVP funding received by IDOT. We're currently working with them when they're ready, because there's a big list of people throughout the state who are receiving these types of vans. They will reach out to us and let us know when the vans are available for us. Each type of van, they're all purchased off the same contract, which is from IDOT. We're piggybacking off of an IDOT contract, so they're all going to be the same vans. 3 City Lift vans. We're currently working to piggyback off that state contract. These are federally funded vans. So as soon as we receive board approval, which we're going to present tonight, we will be able to contract with the vendor, and there's approximately a 4-month lead time on those. So we should get vans here pretty shortly for your City Lift service. 3 supervisor vans. We do have some IDOT funding, which we are going to look into using in order to purchase 3 supervisor vans. Because it's IDOT funding, we have to go through that IDOT approval like we do for the very first purchase of the 4 minivans. Once IDOT approves it, then we'll get board approval and be able to work with the vendor. Our fixed route buses. This is the overall kind of summary of where our current fixed route buses are. We have a total of 53 fixed route buses. Per FTA guidelines, in order to replace those fixed route buses, which are our large buses, it has to be at least 12 years of service or 500,000 miles. When we replace these, they're always have reached their useful life. 10 of those 53 buses are currently scheduled to be refurbished. We'll go into detail in the next slide about where we are with the refurbished buses. This is the overall replacement plan. So we project that after we refurbish, I believe it gives additional 3 to 4 years of service to those vehicles. So they will be projected to be replaced around 2028. We have 4 New Flyer hybrid buses. Those are scheduled to be eligible to be replaced in 2028. The 3 Proterra electric buses that we received, I think in 2021, are going to be eligible in 2033. And then the 10 Gilligs that we just received will be eligible in 2036. And we've identified we have 2 funding sources already to replace some of these vehicles. 5 can be replaced with the rebuild round 3 money that we received last year. We plan on purchasing 5 hybrid buses. Hopefully we will have those purchased and received and in service by 2025. If that goes to plan, we will be able to replace those in 2037. And we also received about 16 million in 5339C funding, which is our low or no emissions program. It's a competitive grant opportunity with federal money. Those hopefully will purchase up to 10 buses. We will receive those. The plan is in 2026, and then they should be able to be replaced in 2038. With all of those buses, it leaves us with 11 buses that are currently eligible for replacement. And we're basically just looking for different funding sources. With a replacement plan, you don't want to replace all the vehicles at once. So I think we're in a good standing for the next like 3 years to be able to find a funding source for those 11 buses. Questions?
Thank you. Excellent report.
The refurbishment, we have the first and the second buses have been received, and they are currently in service. The third bus, I think there's a part that has a extended lead time, so it's estimated to be received in 6 to 7 weeks. The fourth bus has been delivered and it started. And then the fifth bus, we expect to receive sometime after the third and the fourth. We won't give him the bus until we receive another bus back that's been completed. Our current contract that we have to refurbish these buses, we did a plan to do 5 to 10 buses depending on how the refurbishment went. Because of the lead times and the Buy America requirements, it did take them a little longer than anticipated, but we're understanding of that. And we are hopefully going to do another 5 buses within the next 6 months to a year. The transit center remodel, we originally had the A&E services posted. I did have to withdraw that because I was preoccupied with other things. So we are going to meet with management to see when the new plan to release that and come up with another timeline in order to get that project rolling. The funding source that we have is Rebuild Round 2, and the funding source doesn't expire until 2028. So we have some time. Okay, the operations update. So I'm going to have the team help me with this. Ridership for August, 171,836. July ridership, 164,977. That's an increase of 6,859, representing about 4.2%. Accidents, 6 preventable in August, 2 in July. Causes, distracted driving, backing up without proper safety protocols, and 4 involved mirrors. On-time performance, there's room for improvement with this one. Simulator training, we recently received I think it's Train the Trainer from our simulator vendor. They reported 6 staff were trained. Simulator training will become part of our regular training program with our operators. And Shamra is going to assist with talking about the community events.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. So just to give you an update on some activities that we're doing in marketing. So to start off, we'll be with Stuff of Us. So CityLink is proudly marking on its 37th anniversary of Stuff of Us. And this year we will be partnering with Peoria Friendship House. The CEO is Marcel Somerville and his team, and then also our new board member, Dan Morse, and the CityLink team. So we really took a step back and just looked at the location and where we've had it in the past. And after working with the team, everybody just was really comfortable with the Kroger and Lindbergh. And so they just announced that, I think it's best there because if we're going to start off with donations, then we'll start it out there. But then we can also move on to other Kroger locations in the Peoria area, which would be Lake Street, Sterling, and then Main Street in East Peoria, and then back at Lindbergh again. So the kickoff will be October 18th, and it'll be from 10 to 3. We'll be collecting donations all day long, and then we'll have information that will go out so that everybody will know at the times of when we will be working on this campaign. And then some of you may know, some may not, that we ended up wrapping a new diesel bus because the antique bus is down. And luckily we found out way before we started Stuff a Bus, which is a really good thing. So we put our heads together and we decided let's go with a retro style. So it looks very similar to the antique bus that we have. And people will recognize that too. So right now what we're doing is we're stuffing it with people. And we will do that during the time that it's not the campaign season. So it's a good thing for us. And now it's on the minds of people that, we will be having Stuff a Bus. So it does look really good. But the bus itself is a lot bigger than the antique bus. So now our goal is 12 tons instead of 10 tons. So that's what we will be focusing on this year. So we have the Peoria Rivermen and the Mustangs that will collaborate with the closing of Stuff a Bus and the celebration to unload the 12 tons, and that will be on December 3rd. So again, we'll have all that information go out for you. And then as we talked about at the last board meeting, we have the Fine Free Pay Free. And just as a reminder, it started September 1st and it ends September 3rd. We are collaborating with Peoria Public Library, East Peoria, which would be Fond du Lac Library, and then Pekin Library. And as long as you have a library card, then you can ride the bus for free all month long. So we have information that has gone out. We've disseminated across the community. And then also what we've done is at the 309-676-4040 number, as soon as you call, you will hear about the Fine Free Fare Free. So we can remind people that as long as you bring your library card, then you can ride the bus for free. Also, we talked about last board meeting, the Peoria Historical Society and those tours. So they are going well so far. There's been no complaints. The group has had 11 riders, and that was on August 23rd, and then they had 7 on August 30th. So we had 9 total tours that we're going to be doing. So we've already done 2, so we're down to 7 at this time. And the tours start at 10 a.m. and they end at 11:30 a.m. And the tours start at Caterpillar Visitor Center. So the last tour will be October 18th. So Peoria Historical Society, they are over the moon that we are helping them out with this. So it's great to have them back. Main Street Quest, Dr. Myers asked me to work with some business professionals, and they're real young in the area. They just noticed that there needed to be some activity on Main Street. And so they came up with the idea of having a scavenger hunt. And so they wanted to work with CityLink because it just made sense. The collaboration is a perfect time. It's going to be on September 14th. They're going to be having a scavenger hunt. They're working with the Bradley students because a lot of the students aren't from the area. This might be a way to entice them to stay. You never know because we have things to do here in Peoria, and we have the finest public transportation service. So since we have Fine Free, Fare Free, we have buses that go up and down Main Street while they're doing their scavenger hunt. They can jump on and off. And so they will be promoting as well that you can just use your library card to get on the bus. So they have like 100 questions that they're going to be asking. They ask that you have a team of 5. They will be giving away a $100 gift certificate, no, gift card, Visa gift card per person that's on the team. So that will be on September 14th. And with 100 questions, it's probably going to take all day for them to figure those out, but there will be a winner at the end. And to find out more information about this, you can go on our Facebook, our page, and then find out more information about the Main Street Quest. That completes my report. Thank you.
Question. Back to the historic trolley tours, which are great. Like we talked about that previously, and question I had, I think I asked it last time, was one of the other things that used to make those very exciting were the whole historic trolley that we had, which I obviously decommissioned now. But is that something that, I mean, we'll look at the metrics on how this is working for this season. Can we start looking at the possibility of getting a trolley again or something like that for the next season if this is
A
successful?
lot of people have done. I was actually meeting with somebody for lunch on Saturday and they asked, can we bring the trolley back? So I would have to turn that over to Dr. Myers to make that decision and that call, but if that's something that we can work on together.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
New facility update.
Good evening. So for moving right along with the phases, phase C, River City and South Building concrete infill back end. Bedrock painting, they've been moving around, painting the ceiling and getting that completed. And the mechanicals are installing as the painter moves around. Phase D, River City Construction installed annex the north side of the vapor barrier slab on grade, and then Friday we could get the south side done. Tobin continued south side trench drain and vent piping install. And then TIPCO has done the installation of the gas line, and United Rebar tied the bars at the south side trench drain also. As far as the budget update, no adjustments to the overall GMP. All phases currently we're at 91.24%. Currently billed 39 million, and then payout 40 will be submitted at the end of this month. I split these out just because we're down to the last two phases. So phase C being 68%. September 16th, we have the flooring getting ready to start. That's about a 30-day time frame. So that'll get us pushed through to October, and then we should be wrapping up C in November. And then phase D, 31%. And the biggest piece is metal building is showing up on Friday. So that is very exciting for all of us. Across the board there, as I said, phase C final completion is November 7th, and then phase D with being pushed with the annex delivery being February 10th. We also, lastly, River City partnered with Bradley again, and this project was selected for the construction class. So we'll be having some tours and stuff. So let's do that again. Questions?
When's that moving to the admin building, or is it going on?
The admin, you can move in anytime you like. Just take it over, please.
Let's go.
Oh my God.
So we don't have furniture, right?
There we go.
I knew there was a catch to that. Okay, there's no furniture. So,
Do we have an update on that by any chance?
anybody know when we might have furniture?
Anyone?
We received our quotes from the vendors last month, and we had a couple follow-up questions, and the information has been sent to IDOT. IDOT is even more overwhelmed than we are typically with their staffing. So it typically takes a couple weeks, and I plan on following up with them shortly.
We have to talk to IDOT about the furniture?
It's because it's IDOT funding.
Oh,
So,
got it. Okay.
yeah.
Makes sense.
So each funding source, you have different hoops you have to jump through, and specifically with IDOT, if it's IDOT funding, you have to get concurrence or approval before you can award any contracts, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Trans
Question for, can I go back? It was a question back on the, I'm sorry, John, on the GM report. I meant to ask it earlier, but Kofi wasn't here because it was listed under his section. But there was a note in there about meeting with Pekin Chamber of Commerce Transportation. Is there an effort going on with Pekin and Transportation that we should be aware of?
Their Kofi is the one that's been going down there and meeting with them, and they're looking at the upcoming rerouting of the new plan that I'm gonna put in effect, because we're going down streets where we're not even picking up people and stuff, and cut costs, we're gonna compress those routes down there. And there's a couple of streets that they want them to go on that we're not going on, so we've been working with those adjustments to do that with them. Other than that, they're happy with the bus system.
Okay, because there were those, I think we worked on over from the Tri-County meeting when it came back from issues between Peoria and Pekin and stops that were either unofficial or official, and trying to make sure that we were picking up people or directing them to appropriate locations that maybe they traditionally thought they were going to get picked up at.
Yeah, we're definitely looking on that,
Okay.
focusing on that.
All right.
More questions? Okay, we're ready for Angel.
Thank you, trustees. And I apologize, Stephanie, I meant to call you earlier to see if I wanted me to bring any copies, because I know I didn't send my report out until Friday afternoon. So I'm not sure if you have it in your packets or not. If you do, okay, that's great. Thank you, Stephanie, so much. So outside of that, excuse me. We're very happy. We had a hiring event on August 8th, which is in your packet there. We had, I can't remember the exact number, but it was probably about close to 70 different applications. 22 people arrived for the hiring event. Unfortunately, about half of those did not pass qualifications. And then the other, we had 11 people who actually started at various forms of training throughout the month of August. Some of them have left because they decided the job was not quite right for them, or we decided the job wasn't quite right for them. Right now, we do have several that are in training in various stages. One actually graduated last Thursday, I want to say. She's doing great. We have one that will be graduating tomorrow. We have a rehire, which we are thrilled about because she left through no fault of her own, no fault at all. She just had a family emergency. So that's been cleared up, and she was back in class today. And because she's only been gone less than 3 months, she should be on the road hopefully by tomorrow afternoon. Just beautiful driver, just really, really good. Very, very sweet with customers and very safe. Never an issue at all. So little by little, we keep moving on. Other than that, I mean, everything else is just status quo. Just trying to hire, trying to retain. Today was, our on-time performance is still a challenge because of the lack of drivers. We still need about another 15 to 20 drivers to have a really good service. So we just keep on rolling with that. We did hire a new office assistant. She's been really, just pushing for the recruiting, helping me with trying to get fares under control and up to date. There's nothing wrong with fares. It's a very time-consuming process between the reconciliation and the equaling system and just all of that. So she's really dived in and is working on getting those going. As you can see it for active operators right now, as of September 2nd, we had 19. We really need we want 45, but we really need at least 33 to have the service that our community deserves. So we are working on that. Outside of that, actually, there's not much more than that. And I mean, unless you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer anything.
So, month over month, you always report back to us about 2 issues, hiring and retention.
Yes, sir.
So is there, you don't have to tell us now, but it would be good maybe next month or between then. Can you give us 3 items that you need us to help you with to overcome this challenge? Because we always hear what the issue, there's issues, but in order for us to make changes or do something, we need to be able to, get some facts on what needs to be changed to do that. So that would be helpful.
Yes, and Kofi and I have been talking extensively about that. So we talk about that every single week. So I'd be happy to come up with something that I can share in a public setting and report to you on it.
Okay, that'd be good.
Yes, sir.
More questions? Thank you, Angel.
With the board's permission, I would like to address further the Transdev situation.
Absolutely.
As I believe everybody is aware, there exists a certain contract between Transdev and CityLink for certain ADA services which they perform. And within the four corners of that contract, there is a section that addresses what's called liquidated damages for non-performance or non-compliance with the goals that we set forth in that contract. When I first came here, I looked at that contract and went into the financials to see if those liquidated damages, how much they're bringing in or this and that. And I was very, very surprised to find that nothing but zeros. Along with Kofi, who I have as head of ADA since he's been involved with that a lot in the past, we went through the last 2 years of every single instance of where Transdev did not meet those provisions within the contract that required a liquidated damage for certain things, such as $100 every time you're not on time. And there's many instances. After a pretty thorough investigation of all of this, and my concerns are, I want to leave it up to the board to make a decision. I'm not the decision maker. But at current, past 2 years, they owe us $56,600 in liquidated damages. And I want to know, with the board's direction, what direction do we go? Do we just, I understand their problems considerably. I've talked many times with Angel and with her boss about what caused those conditions. COVID was in there, they couldn't hire people. Their wage scale is not within the wage scale of the transit area here. They don't make anywhere near what our drivers make. So they've had lots of operational problems due to not having enough people. And people come and go. They've had a revolving door in that area as well. So all I bring forth this question to the board is, do we proceed to leave it as is till they can get their feet on the ground over there and get these other people hired that I know they're trying to hire and disregard the liquidated damages? Or do we carry it further? That's in my question.
Well, I think the board needs to discuss it first, and perhaps we'll have an answer for you so we can address it at next month's board meeting.
Okay.
That work with you?
Thanks. Yes.
Thank you. Public comments. There. Old business. New business. Mr. Wambacher.
Yes, this involves the approval of a workers' compensation settlement that was negotiated by Tim Cassidy on behalf of the district and the petitioner's attorney. The settlement amount is $168,440. You've previously been sent a letter outlining the opinions about why this is a reasonable settlement. And so therefore, I would ask the board for someone to make a motion to approve settlement number 2024-7 in the amount of $168,440 as outlined.
May I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Stone Pope,
Yes.
trustee Hare, approved. Trustee Knox, approved. Trustee Morris, approved. Trustee Hare, approved.
Thank you. Motion carries. Mr. Wambacher?
Our next item is another workers' compensation settlement, this one number 2024-8 in the amount of $64,794. $94.75. Again, this relates to another settlement negotiation that was done by Tim Cassidy relating to a particular worker who was injured. He'd previously been sent a letter that outlines the rationale behind the settlement and the opinion that the settlement is reasonable. The settlement has been negotiated and subject to approval of the board. So at this point, I would ask the board to offer a motion to approve settlement 2024-8 in the amount of $64,794.75.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Trustee Stone Polk.
Approved.
Trustee Hare. Approved. Trustee Knox. Approved. Trustee Morris. Approved. Trustee Ahern. Approved.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Our next resolution is from John.
Resolution 2506, that's a recommendation to authorize Kofi Hissey, who is the Assistant General Manager, to become the new DBE Liaison Officer. I ask for the board approval.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution 2507, a recommendation to authorize the execution of third-year option with William C. Wambacher and Cassidy and Mueller PC for legal services.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Trustee Sterling Polk.
Approved.
Trustee Hare. Approved. Trustee Knox. Approved. Trustee Morris. Approved. Trustee Ahern. Approved.
Motion carries. Resolution 2508. Dr. Myers.
Seeking authorization to terminate the memorandum of understanding that was executed without the board's knowledge and without board counsel's knowledge by the prior administration here.
Questions? Anyone want to answer? We, you all know that. Okay. Motion.
Only question I have is, why do we need why do we need to be a resolution if it was something that was,
Authorized.
unauthorized? So does that in effect ratifying something that I don't understand why we need a resolution to do that if it was not official in the first place.
Well, I think it's important just to, make a positive statement as to, our position with regard to that particular document so that there isn't any confusion, by persons on the other side of the memorandum as to, how the board feels about the current status of that potential project.
Okay.
And the other parties should they be notified?
They will be notified once the board takes action.
We all right? Motion,
So moved.
second,
Second.
roll call.
Trustee Sterling. Sorry.
Approved. Sorry.
Trustee Hare. Approved. Trustee Knox. Approved. Trustee Morris. Approved. Trustee Ahern. Approved.
Motion carries. Our next resolution, Paige.
Everybody. Doesn't quite feel like it's been a year, but we're just about there. So I'm here today to request that we end service early for our annual holiday party for our employees. And right now that date is slotted for December 7th, 2024, with the last lineup at 2:15 p.m. So it is recommended that the Greater Peoria Mass Transit District Board of Trustees authorize us to end service early on December 7th with the 2:15 last lineup.
Questions, anyone?
I'll make motion.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Resolution 2510.
Evening.
Evening.
We're seeking authorization to purchase 3 medium-duty vans. The city lift vehicles has surpassed their useful life both in age and miles and eligible for replacement. The state of Illinois has a master contract with Midwestern Transfer Equipment Incorporated for medium-duty buses, and we wish to piggyback off that contract to purchase the replacement vehicles. The contract is an existing state of Illinois master contract. Federal and state Illinois procurement practices regarding piggybacking procedures were followed. The purchase will be funded through an existing federal grant. It is recommended that Greater Peoria Mass Transit District execute a contract or purchase order with Midwest Transit Equipment Incorporated for the purchase and delivery of 3 medium-duty buses in amount not to exceed $348,914.
Questions?
Motion to approve the stated.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Stillingfeld,
Approved.
trustee Hare, approved. Trustee Knox, approved. Trustee Morris, approved. Trustee Aaron, approved.
Motion carries. Financial report.
Good evening, how you doing?
Very well.
We're seeking approval of the payment of invoices submitted for the financial activities of August 2024. In August, the total monthly operating expenses of 3.3 million represent 8.2% of our fiscal year annual budget, fiscal year 2025 annual budget. And this amount is 4% more than the monthly projection. Included in the 3.3 million disbursements, we have wages and salaries of 1.1 million, benefits of 624K, services of 292K, materials and supplies of 1.4 million, casualty and liability of 136K, and miscellaneous of 63,000. We also have capital expenditures in the amount of 4.6 million, and this includes 2.8 million for Gillett Corporation, as well as 1.8 million for River City constructions. We are asking approval of these requested disbursements.
Any idea why we were 4% over our projected monthly?
I looked at it and month over month of the actual disbursements, so not talking about the budget, we had an increase of 59% month over month. And majority of that came from the wages and salary, as well as materials and supplies. I haven't done a deep dive of that yet, but that's the reason.
All right, thank you very much. Questions, gentlemen?
So does that, do you project later in the fiscal year that we'll make up for that 4% somewhere else, or will that continue to carry and then put us off budget for the year?
At this point, I do not know. I would have to, like I said, do a deeper analysis, and I can give that to you to the next meeting.
Okay.
Motion? To approve?
I'll make motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Stillingfeld,
Approved?
trustee Hare, approved. Trustee Knox, approved. Trustee Morris,
Approved.
trustee Aaron, approved.
Motion carries. We are finished with our regular meeting. We will be adjourning. We will be going into executive session.
It'll be down.